first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna actually jump into some of the homebrew hauls that we actually got for this week. So we're gonna actually jump over my screen capture here in just a quick second. And we're gonna actually go over, I took the liberty of kind of pre-screening these to make sure that hopefully none of them, I was kind of thumbing through them, were safe for work, I guess. So we'll make sure that that's the case. But we'll kind of go through and kind of take a look at all of these and kind of just get a general idea of what you guys got going on in your home games that you want to kind of take a look at. So first one we got here is actually on the Discord. So I know we have to kind of like look at it, but I'm going to try and zoom in as best I can for you guys so you guys can see it. So we have this Songbow, this specific arrow of Attunement. So as you can see here, arrow's got 12 charges. This is from Garrick LaHire. Which has actually been our player character that plays Shirley in our home game, in our online game here that we're playing this Wednesday. Which, by the way, is going to be switching next week. Not this week, but next week. We're going to be streaming the live show game on Tuesday nights, starting at 8:30. There's just been some changes with some of the schedules between work and stuff like that for a lot of people, including myself. So we're just trying to make it work and kind of continue to keep bringing you guys the same amount of content. And then this particular stream will actually move to Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. So you will see us over there for some of the DM chats and some of these homebrew hauls, the monster breakdowns, all that kind of cool stuff. As you can see here, so anyway, so the Songbow, it requires Attunement. Okay, so that already tells me that's going to be a fairly strong weapon. It's got 12 charges. When you hit with a ranged attack using it, you can spend up to 3 of the charges. Okay, so that's good. For each charge you expend, it takes d6 force damage. The arrow gains 1d6 plus 2. Charges at dawn. Shaped wand with crystals as the arrowhead. An arrow-shaped wand with crystals as the arrowhead and fleshling. Bonus action to draw with a sharp whistle. Bonus action to sheath, but must also have a free hand. Okay. Can attack a number of creatures equal to charisma modifier. Range 120 feet. 1d6 plus charisma modifier. Magical piercing damage. Concentration using the performance skill. That's different. Okay, so I think that the idea behind this is it's kind of, unless I'm missing, I don't actually technically know what the term fletchling means, but it sounds like to me it's kind of like just almost like a conductor's, it kind of seems like it's an arrow. So it's interesting because it says can attack number of creatures equal to charisma modifier, but I'm confused. It seems like there's a couple in here. So we can spend up to 3 charges. For each one you expend, the target takes an extra 1d6 force. Oh, okay, I'm getting it. So I read it kind of like a wand of magic missiles is actually what I read it like. But this is not what that is. So by spending... coffee, I do cough. So by spending 3 of the charges, you can actually do a d6 force damage to a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier. Okay. If I'm reading this correctly, and Ben, you can correct me because I know you're in the chat. It, to me, already feels like it should probably be a very rare weapon, just because of the simple fact that there is the possibility of doing 3d6 force damage to up to 5 creatures by the way I'm reading this. And exactly, how nasty does this get if the rogue uses it in crits plus sneak attack? Exactly. So this is, yeah, the first, like, Shaggy, you bring up a very good point. The first thing is like, okay, let's think about rogues and what they're going to do, and the first thing they're going to do is sneak attack with this thing. It makes me have some, it does give me some pause, so it's basically like adding on more sneak attacks. I'm assuming that a person's going to go right for 20 charisma to give themselves a +5 modifier. 1d6 plus charisma. So this is another 1d6 plus charisma magical piercing on top of the damage we're already getting from this extra these 3d6 to each creature. So we're talking 4d6 plus 5. Range 120 feet. And then if you're... I assume this is someone that's either going to be a rogue or a bard, just by the way that this feels. But it could also be a... it could be a sorcerer warlock. I'm seeing performance skill, I automatically think bard. And concentration with the performance skill makes me... It's very interesting. I mean... I get the idea behind it, but... I don't see how this... I mean, it can create interesting situations. So... Made its own separate action as part of the attack. Yeah, you tend it for a bard, yeah. I'm trying to get my head around. So the problem with this is the problem with it being the performance skill is that inherently it means. So if you're proficient in the performance skill, most, I guess you're doing that in lieu of a Constitution saving throw, which. I mean, I get it if you're not proficient in Constitution saves that could come into play here. I mean, I've never seen anything in the 5th edition game that uses a save. Yeah, and I agree with Shaggy too. It does feel like that loosening the restrictions up here, but then like, yeah, 1 less d6 for each target after makes much more sense to me than having like a blanket of what feels like it's gonna be 4d6 across 5 creatures. Yeah. So it's a very interesting kind of. I like the thematics and like have it being intended for a bard. I think that's cool. I think concentration with a performance skill. I'm getting hung up on it, but I feel like it's it's just kind of like one of those rare cases. So if this Songbow is like a very rare item that's only available in certain case situations, then I'd probably be okay with it. It's just kind of a slippery slope, especially if you're getting into, because there's no way you can have expertise in saves, but there is a way you can have expertise in the performance skill. So that also brings into question the how viable we should allow that particular skill to be as far as concentration. I could see using the charisma skill instead of Constitution savings for concentration. It's a very interesting, it's a very interesting case here. I like it. I like the flavor of the Songbow. I'm already assuming I can see like a bunch of different cases that it could be used for. Like I said, I have a hang up about this and just the amount of creatures it can hit per target damage. And it's a ranged attack. I'm assuming it's a ranged magical attack, so you're using your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus to attack. Yeah, I would say like if you want to play around with the idea of being a charisma check instead of a concentration or Constitution saving throw, I would go with it. This works like Staff of Striking. It seems like, yeah, it does seem like this can hit a lot of things as written. So maybe we just kind of mess around with like how much damage the first one can do and kind of how it kind of continues to kind of move its way down the line. But yeah, I like it. Pretty cool. Moving on. We got Dave Platinum Dice here. We're going to take a quick look at his World Anvil page of the World of Dyrr and deal with a bunch of ads. Thanks, Google. So it looks like we've got a bunch of different things in here. We've got the province of Wywick. We've got territories of Ush. But let's look at the player races specifically just to kind of get an idea of some of the interesting kind of things we got going on here, because this is pretty cool. We've got some different species of things that we would normally think of. Looks like we've got Dragonborn. We've got this. Let's just check out one of these player races, just so that way I want to make sure that we get a chance to get to everybody today. So let's check out this Adrassi something. It's a Fey creature, banished from the seasonal courts. +1 to any ability, Fey traits. Yeah, I'm gonna skip a lot of this flavor text because if we're gonna use this and kind of fill it into some of your own campaign worlds, it's gonna be kind of an interesting one. To kind of mess with, and kind of the context is going to be different on a case-by-case basis, but I do like the idea of this is a kind of race that was banished from the seasonal courts, and only a few of them have chosen this existence, but if we come down here, we'll go to the racial abilities, so we get a +1 bonus to any ability. Fey traits, you count as a Fey creature. You need to eat, sleep, and drink, but are ageless when you reach maturity. You are immune to ability drain effects. You gain expertise in one of the skills and tools awarded by your background. Okay. Gossamer Manipulation. You have a pool of points equal to your proficiency modifier. These points allow you to use your abilities. These points are recovered at the end of a short rest. So this is going to be okay. So this is an interesting kind of race to kind of consider, because it's going to include a bunch of different kind of just a bunch of different mechanics in here. It looks like cast detect magic as an action by spending a point. Doing so does not require concentration. Okay, so that's actually kind of huge. You can write in Sylvan and Sealy. I assume common too, just because of the way the mechanics of the game are. Then you have your sub traits that have different. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff here. Okay, I find this interesting. This point system interesting. So you can only have like at the first level it's 2 points, so it's not like too overpowered, I would think. Proficient in nature and an expert in nature. Okay. There's okay. Proficient in weapons that you make. Okay, so this is okay. So this is a very overpowered player character race. But I think you also mentioned, I think Platinum Dice also mentioned that this is probably very, very overpowered. The humans are much more simple? Okay, we'll go back to the human race then. I was gonna say, that one's a little complicated. And it looks like... Oh, it looks like Shaggy and Heems are going, and Ben are kind of going through... Okay, anyway. So we're gonna jump into humanity, check into humans. Racial abilities, the normal stuff. Looks like we get a combination of skills. Inspirational, so this is a homebrew human ability, or a humanity ability. It looks like we've kind of lumped in Tritons and other types of human-type creatures. So you can have an inspiration to give yourself advantage. If both die would have been a success, you get your inspiration back. You can spend inspiration to re-roll. When you take the highest result, is if you roll advantage, you get 1 extra point of inspiration. Okay. Can speak Manish in one of the racial language. Okay. And then you get your heritage. Okay, so this is a lot. Yeah, this is a lot shorter. When you brought to 0 hit points, if you have a hit die left, you can spend 1 or more immediately to recover hit points. Once you use this feature, you can't finish it until you use a long rest. Whenever you gain an ability score or feat in this class, you may choose a skill tool or language kit or save to become proficient in. Choose one of the following. You're already skilled and will gain expertise. Okay. So I'm starting to get the feel here that a lot of the races in your game they're leveled across the spectrum of all the player character races, but that also means that your enemies are probably boosted a little bit too, just because based on the fact that, like, you know, we're basically getting an impromptu kind of half-orc ability here, this ambitious racial trait here with the ability, well, not to come back to 1 hit point, but to actually use a hit die. To immediately recover some hit points, so that's interesting. We're also gaining skills and tools and things to be proficient with every ability score improvement or feat as a class feature. So if you're going fighter, you're going to get a ton of proficiencies. That's going to be huge for them. And then Orkin, we've got... When you make a strength constitution check, you gain or save, you gain advantage on the roll. So you're automatically rolling advantage on strength or con saves and checks. Which is okay. You proficient in survival. You have your proficient to your bishop checks. Okay. Again, these are very overpowered player races by the sounds of it. Considering some of the other stuff that you get +1 bonus 3 ability scores. The thing that strikes me here is getting advantage on basically every strength, constitution check, or save. I would have to ask you the question. Hi there, actually. No standard race, all my races are balanced with each other. Yeah, they're balanced with each other for sure. My question for you, Platinum Dice, is that with the advantage on... Are these just strength checks, or are these also including your athletics checks? Which I'm being very nitpicky just to ask the question. Because it's worth asking, just because if it's strength-based checks as well, or if it's just specifically strength checks. I actually am looking at this and I'm like, oh, this is great, because then if you're gonna go with a spellcaster, you can get advantage on all your concentration checks because it's a Constitution saving throw. Yep, always got to. Exactly. Saves the discussion mid-game to be, yeah, exactly. That's why we're kind of, it's also why we're diving into these homebrews, because oftentimes, like, when you share them with other people, they come, skills are included within the plan. Okay. Because when you ask these questions, because if it's not brought up now, it's going to be brought up at the table, so better to get it out of the way. But not only that, we have a bunch of different minds here in the chat kind of looking at all of these homebrews, which is huge, because then we can actually kind of come together and kind of give different perspectives of kind of what we're all looking for that maybe the original homebrew creator didn't see. So we also have Elfin. Let's see. Dexterity wisdom checks are advantage. You gain expertise and skills awarded by you and your background. Okay. Okay. Triton swim speed equals your base movement. You can breathe underwater, have dark vision, adapt to the most extreme test. You have resistance to cold damage, ignore any drawbacks by deep underwater movement. Okay. There's a lot of good reasons to be a human in this particular world. But as we kind of saw, there's really good reasons to be the other races in your world as well. So that's very interesting. I'll be curious. It looks like there's going to be Goliaths in the near future, it looks like, if we look at that. So that's interesting too. But like I said, like, they do feel, it does seem just based on the quick half orc and half elf. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So it, yeah, suffice it to say, this should, yeah, these all balance with each other. But again, like, as a DM, you're always going to have to, kind of play that game of like challenging your players a little bit with, especially with a lot of these dexterity wisdom check advantages at all times. That's going to be huge. And you took away the human's feat so that everybody could have a feat at first level. That's, yeah, I actually don't mind that. We're actually probably, I think, so Shaggy is actually my buddy Greg, who is also our home game DM, who I think is going to allow us to do something similar to that in our next campaign, which is going to be fun. I'm excited to see kind of that. But, all right, so moving on. That was from, Platinum Dice 07, who is this person right here, who's also in the chat. So we're actually going to go, let's go to Mikitz and their demon devil classes. Yeah, no variant humans, everybody gets an early feat, exactly. Let's check out this demon class. There's some really great flavor text. You're a spawn of Orcus, you have a true name, create a demon. You can make a demon quickly by following these suggestions. Christmas tree will be a higher ability score, total constitution. Second should be your soldier background. Strength affects your claw damage and armor class. Also, the medicine check skill determine how good you are at preparing bodies for consumption. And all in all, you need a high charisma con. You need a high everything. Okay. You need a high everything. Hopefully, you're rolling for stats. So, as a demon, you gain the following class features. We got a D10 hit die. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll reserve judgment. I'm just curious to see where this goes. We only know Abyssal. We get strength and charisma saves. We get intimidation and 2 other skills. You get the following equipment: a bag of incense used to fend off the scent of rotting corpses you would have to be carrying around. Okay. We might need to look at some of this flavor text to get the context of what's going on here. That's interesting. Okay. So it looks like we're getting something here at level 1. We got a lot of stuff here, so let's see here. So we get our demon anatomy. We're going to get claws. Efficient with claw attacks. It's a d6 plus our strength modifier, slashing damage on a hit. Reach of 5 feet. When you take the attack action on your turn to make an attack with your claws, you can make 1 additional attack using your claws at the start of the same action. Oh, okay. So we're getting multi-attack at level 1. This class is this class is a demon class. So you're going to get all your race statistics, and then you're also going to be a demon. Okay. So we're going to have multi-attack at level 1. You cannot hold anything in demon form as your claws are too thick and long. Okay. When you move 15 feet towards the target and hit with a claw attack on the same turn, you can make 3 additional claw attacks for one for each additional limb. Okay. Okay, so there is a charge. So you already have the ability to get 4 attacks at level 1. I'm guessing this isn't balanced, which is okay. I'm totally fine with things not being balanced. Depends on the kind of game you're playing. So Demon Tail. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, well, it's got a level progression from 1 to 20, so it makes me think this is something more for DMs to play around with. I can see that. If you want to use this as a base for a DM-based monster or something like that, I like that. But having multi-attack at level 1, not prestige class. No, you have multi-attack at level 1 and the possibility of getting 4 attacks as well. We also have a tail. We have a reach of 15 with our tail. Con save or become poison. While poison target's paralyzed, and repeat the same threat each of the end of turns, the effect on success. Restraining wrap. 10-foot reach. If target's medium or familiar is grappled. This until this grapple ends, the target's restrained. You can automatically hit the target with your claw attacks, and you can't make. Okay. I take it these are actions to use. Flavor over mechanics, exactly. The Demon Hide, we have what amounts to basically an unarmored defense with a con strength modifier for our armor, and then we got a tail whip that does slashing damage. So we got a lot of choices for our tail attacks. So that's just our demon anatomy. Oh, and we get Demon Sight at level 2, which is another part of our demon anatomy. We can see through magical darkness. You have 30 feet of dark vision. If you already have dark vision, it increases another 30 feet. Okay, this is the demon. We have time to go look at the devils here too, so don't get too excited, guys. This is just the demon stuff. Demon with the blood of Orcus flowing through your body. You have the power to possess creatures. First level, you must collect a form of their DNA, and you need to prepare for 8 hours, and you must touch the creature. And then you have already possessed your creature. You need only touch them to repossess them. Target has disadvantage on the wisdom saving throw. So then if we go to perform a possession, as a demon, you can possess a willing or unwilling creature as long as the target is a playable race from any source, DM's discretion. If a creature is unwilling, they must make a wisdom save against your spell save DC. If the target creature has a holy symbol, they have advantage. On a success, you fail to possess them and are aware of the intent of your presence. On a failure, you possess them and they black out the moment you possess them. You may choose to depart the body at any time for no cost or harm to the host. There are 4 ways you can leave the host. You can willingly leave, you can be forcefully excommunicated. If the host reaches 0 HP, losing the host in this way causes constitution the damage into your host is lethal to your soul. On failure, you come out of the host at half HP. On a success, you come out of the host at full HP. The host is aware. Every day at dawn, you must make a wisdom save against the host, wisdom and insight with advantage. On a success, the host remains unaware of your presence. And on your failure, your host is aware of you and will try to expel your control over them temporarily. Once the host is aware, you can hear the voice of your host in your head cursing you, damning you back to the 9 hells. Every day, you must continue to make a wisdom save. On success, you shut the voice up. On a failure, the host regains control of the body. Or you can be exorcised. Should a holy person attempt to exorcise you, you must make a wisdom save at disadvantage against the host's insight check in order to maintain them the host. If you're exercised, you must make a con save against the spell save DC. When a failure, you come out of the host at 1 HP. On a success, you come out of the host at full HP. Okay. And yeah, this is still level 1. So let's keep going. Consumed flesh. Healing potions and spells have no effect on you while possessing and while in demon form. You can only heal by consuming a delectable flesh of a mortal creature and speak Muslim language via hit dice or via long rest. Before consumption, you must succeed in a wisdom check. There's a lot of mechanics here. A failure means the corpse cannot be consumed. You can heal at any time. It looks like D4 plus con mod, D8 plus con mod for different levels of creature types on medicine checks. Okay. Interesting. All right, I don't think we're going to go much beyond first level, just because there's a lot here. It looks like we're also getting extra attack at 5th level, when we already have like 6 attacks, or whatever the heck it is. So, I'm already looking at this being, this is a very good, it's a lot of healing too, yeah. I'm seeing this as a great class for a dungeon master to play with if they want to make a big bad evil guy that is a demon. I don't think it depends on the game you're playing. If you have a bunch of demons that are in the abyss trying to accomplish something nasty, then yes. I don't think you can be a good guy, but I think I think this is a great thing for a DM to kind of play with. Looks like you can have an adolescent Demogorgon somehow. I'm just seeing that now. Apparently through, I assume, some sort of crazy summon demon thing. Yeah, that's what I figured. So I'm gonna call it on that one, just because it does seem that this is a very, very strong class that feels like it should be a DM's kind of mess around with class. As far as just a thing for them to throw out their players to be a big bad evil guy. I do like it. It's interesting. But there is a lot of stuff here. Spellcasting ability is going to be Charisma, Ritual Casting, Spellcasting Focus. Your body is a Spellcasting okay, well. Spells known first level higher. You know 3 spells. There's a table. Can extract things. Layers of the abyss. And underwater breathe. Oh my goodness, there is even more stuff. Depending on the layer of the abyss you come from, you can get other abilities. When consuming flesh, the hit points you regain are doubled for any modifiers are applied. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I could see something like this working where, yeah, you can like shift in and out of demon form, and it would need to be reworked. But I could see a demon class working. I just feel like this is much more of a, this feels much more of like a DM kind of fun big bad evil guy class. And then if we go in the devil class. Exactly. That's a good point there, Shaggy. That the big thing is that it's less about making it balance between you and the DM. It's more about making sure that you're not putting the rest of your party into your shadow and then they are having fun. So that is a good point. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a huge thing. You don't want to be so overpowered that the rest of your players don't have fun. That's a big, huge part. So let's create a devil. Let's see here. D10. Sure. Looks like, oh, we get armor. Okay. So this is going to be much more of a traditional type of class. We've got a container where we harvest souls. Okay. We have an Asmodeus symbol. We have Devil Sight. Okay. Features Soulmonger and Devil Sight. So we got Devil Sight already, but we got the Soulmonger here. You learn how to harvest souls. Yeah, you learn how to harvest souls. Unless otherwise stated, you can perform a soul consumption method. You learn 3 soul consumption methods of your choice. You learn 2 more additional methods. To harvest soul, you must touch a creature that has died within the last minute and spend your action to harvest. To successfully harvest a soul, you must fail. They must fail a wisdom save against your spell save DC, and if the target is good aligned, they have advantage on the roll. If the target succeeds, you can see the soul vanish into the air as the mouse. Mortals cannot observe this phenomenon. Soul consumption method. Skill extraction. You can spend 16 hours learning the skill proficiency when one of your captured souls. This proficiency lasts forever. Okay. Interesting. Oh, and depending on how many souls you capture, you get different things. Okay. This is interesting. You can learn a language, you can learn a tool proficiency, you can regain 1 spell equal to the amount of souls you consume divided by 5. You can consume up to 25 souls to regain 1 spell lot. Okay. If you want, for example, if you want to gain 4. Okay, so it's kind of like a very interesting kind of like arcane recovery. Okay. You can extract memories. You can consume 4 souls to reroll a failed saving throw. Okay. Reroll a failed ability check. Spiritual. You can consume a soul to heal yourself a D12 plus your charisma modifier. And you can turn 1 soul into a servant that serves you in your wishes. The amount of servants you have is divided. The initiative is okay. So you can have some. Okay, so you can have some different servants and stuff like that. Okay. Exactly. This is very much so, Shaggy. This does much align with the it has a secondary progression system that moves up and bumps up as they're going along, which, again, like you're saying, you got to make sure that they're going to be, yeah, there's going to be kind of a thing where your players need something similar, or else they're going to wonder why one party member is getting way better than everyone else. We got spell casting. Are we? I think we're a half caster. Yep, we're a half caster. We're gonna get immune to fire damage at level 2. You can add your charisma modifier to the fire damage. Okay, with the hellfire. Servant of the Archduke and Duchess. You can bind yourself to one of the Lords of the Nine as their zealot. So you can pick. Okay, you can pick. Oh, this one hasn't been fully fleshed out yet. Okay, but there's a lot of different choices here. It looks like there has. What was the one that I saw that had an ability? This one. Zariel, Archduchess of Avernus. You gain 5% of your hit points at the start of your turn. You take radiant. If you take radiant damage, the trait doesn't function until your next turn. You die only if you start your turn with 0 HP and do not regenerate. Okay, that's an interesting kind of way to kind of play on the trolls, kind of like resistance kind of mechanic. I like that. That's interesting. This does, again, these feel great for like things that I would I would use as a DM to kind of play around with the idea of like, how do I want to base a devil that's not just going to be a standard devil, that's not going to be something that's found in like the player's handbook or something like that, and I want to have like player character levels and stuff like that. Like, this is some fun ways to kind of do with that. You can teleport through fire, walk through fire and disappear. You can cast Misty Step without the need of a spell slot. You can use your Charisma modifier to weapon attacks as extra fire damage. Is there a Mammon one? Yep. Mammon the Vicomte. 30-foot long servant with a humanoid upper body, is duplicitous and considered untrustworthy of the Archdukes. By many of the Archdukes, she has represented greed and lust for treasure. And then you get Emissary of Hell, Investiture of Hellfire. Yeah, this is some cool stuff. And then here are your foot spells. Looks like a lot of fire stuff and a lot of like charming people and commanding people. And fire stuff and more charming people and more fire stuff. And demon stuff and more fire stuff and more fire stuff and dominating more people. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. And then here are your lemur, your imp, your spine devils that you can actually summon as your servants that we saw up here. Looks like you can also summon, as it gets better, a Maragon or a Barb Devil, Black Abishai or White Abishai, and a Bone Devil or a Chain Devil once you progress even further. So this is interesting too. I like this as well. It doesn't feel as, like, I think we kind of made the joke that like the demons are gonna just blow through the devils really easily, but I feel like I'd have to look at them again side by side to kind of play with it, but it did feel like the demon one was a little bit more. I have to look at, like, we do get extra attack. I guess you're getting more of your abilities. I mean, this is tricky. I mean, I'd have to see much more of the flushing out of some of these abilities that you get from your different subclasses to really give a good judgment, because it does feel like that the demon class is a little bit more flushed out, and also has a lot more going for it as far as like its different abilities, and just like everything that it has. Yeah, that's true. It might be front loaded. That's true. I have to look at more of it to give it a real good. I have to look at it side by side to give it a better judgment. But it does, like you were saying, Shaggy, it does seem like it's more front loaded. But we'd have to kind of take a look. So that was the Demon and Devil classes from our friend Mikitz. All right, so the next one, we got a couple things from the Library Fox here. We've got the Stargoyle and Goddard the Magi Tech Clockwork Defender. So we'll take a look at this one. Okay, we're gonna take a little look at this one because this one's very complicated and very busy. Just because of the fact that it looks like we've got proficiency in con and strength saves. It's a large construct. Someone did some artificer stuff. So we've got some proficiencies. We got immunity to poison damage, vulnerability to lightning damage, immune to the poison condition. Challenge rating 6. Yeah, 40 hit points. Okay. He can howl, causing thunder damage in a 20-foot cube. The attack can be held as a reaction to work in conjunction with Thunder Wave. This will put the disadvantage on the target's next saving throw, in addition to adding another d6 cut. Okay. And then, yeah, who sent me Artificer stuff? Then to activate Goddard, use your bonus action to crank him for 4 turns. At the end of the 4th crank, something magical happens. Okay, so, I mean, obviously you'd want to have Goddard kind of up early. He can also clamp, where he bites down with his mighty clamp. +5 to hit, single target, 1d4 + 5. Target's restrained unless they make a strength, the DC is 13 strength save. Okay, so there's a very weird, so there's a D100 table here with literally 100 things that can happen. It looks like depending on what you roll, Goddard has a different thing happen. So if you roll a 1, it looks like you can't really use his mouth. His gears disagree in the worst ways. His jaws hang low. Okay, I want to see if I'm missing something. When do we roll this D100? It seems like a summon, yeah. I mean, I would assume it seems like it's either a summon or some sort of defender of some sort, like whether it be a Battlesmith defender or just something that your Artificer can just make. Oh. He just blows up, and if you get hit by the blast, you auto-fail a death save. So you get dropped to 0 hit points? I guess? He has Mechanical Seizure. He takes 20 force damage in the power cycles, number 4. He hibernates, shifting forward into a cumbersome 35 block of rectangular metal and a tiny upward-facing solar panel for the next 24 hours. Oh my goodness. This is a lot going on here. Let's just go down to some of these other ones. Babysitter Protocol. In the presence of a child, Goddard can open a compartment to reveal various candies. He now has advantage in all interactions with children under the age of 10. Okay. Yeah, low numbers seem really bad. Let's see what 99 says. Goddard digs a large hole, revealing a minor magical item. 98, neural reformatting. Reformats his neural network, gaining +1 to intelligence and wisdom stats. Activates his prototype oral cannon. This adds magic missile to his attack list, along with not 1 second level spell slot up to a maximum of 2. Yeah, 40 or 50 should be neutral. So let's just go right in the middle. Talkative. He barks constantly in support of you, giving you advantage on your next 3 attacks. However, if he continues to bark, it becomes annoying and gives you disadvantage on the following 3 attacks. Serrated Claws. He adjusts his feet to claw mode, sharpening them and gaining a +1 to damage on all attacks at the cost of -1 to hit on all attacks. Man's Best Friend. Bonds with a random PC designated by the DM. He exclusively protects them for the next 3 hours, entering guard mode number 45. Which is enters a guard mode for 3 hours. He has advantage on perception checks, +1 to AC, stays within 5 feet of the operator, and refuses to be cranked until the guard mode ends. I think I need more context to Goddard, just because it does seem like the ones that are like, it's like, you get something, but then you also don't get something when it's in the middle. But there also seems to be some other ones too. It's, yeah, kind of like a wild magic sorcerer mixed with a summon. Yeah, I want more context to this guy, and when you actually, like, is Goddard just there until you crank him 4 turns, and then one of these things happen? And, like, Goddard has you can use Goddard, but then you can activate him to do one of these things? I guess? I need more context, so, but we'll take a look at it. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe, yeah, exactly. That's what it seems like, yeah, when you Artificer Rage, you get him, and you have a certain amount of uses per rest. That's what it seems like, but I would like some more context on this one. It seems interesting. And then we have Stargoyle, which is another homebrew monster, challenge rating 1. I believe this is supposed to be a... this is also from Library Fox. I believe this is supposed to be a little familiar. Yep. So he's immune to frightened and petrification. He's got pretty just a high con. Everything else is pretty neutral or low. 20 feet, 40 feet of fly speed, 12 hit points, armor class 13. He can shed bright light in a 10-foot radius when awake. However, they can lower their body to room temperature and sleep in order to stay hidden. Okay. Oh, so he will shed a bright light in a radius of 10 feet when they're awake, but when he sleeps, he doesn't. He has pack tactics. Okay. Multi-attack conduction. Can make 2 attacks, one with its bite, one with its claws. If both hit, the target takes an additional 1d4 radiant damage. We got a bite attack of +3 to hit, which does piercing damage +2 fire damage. We got claw cling, which is +3 to hit, reach, slashing plus fire damage. And then he also has burning hands as well, that he can just cast at will, and then fire ignites by flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Okay. I like this thing. It's cute. The artwork is funny too. I guess the one thing, and it's chaotic evil, interesting. The one thing I have a question about, again, this is just kind of like another general question that I'll pose to the library fox as well, is just the idea, is just how often can this burning hands be used? That's the only thing I really have questions about. I don't really have a problem with the Stargoyle in general. I can see this being a cute little familiar you could probably get through some sort of creative roleplay and stuff like that, so I don't really see much of a problem. I'm not looking for problems, but I'm just looking for certain things that, like, maybe the person hasn't considered. Yeah, either giving Burning Hands a recharge, or a number of maximum uses per short long rest, or something along those, just some sort of mechanic, or if it's at will, it's at will. But I think for a familiar, it should be some sort of either recharge or just a certain number of times per day. Would be the most sense to me. So that would be my 2 cents there. But that is the entire list of all the homebrews we have. If you're on Twitch, stay here. We're not going anywhere. If you're on YouTube watching this later, I want to thank you guys for watching. That is our first episode of the Homebrew Haul. We'll be doing more of these in the future, and because these are your homebrews and stuff like that, we have those cool artwork. Like, you guys will be able to just watch these. There like won't be like a gate behind them or anything like that. You'll just be able to watch it. But yeah, keep sending me your homebrews. Check out the Discord links down below and submit them in the homebrew submissions channel to get yours evaluated here on stream. Hope you guys learned something, or at least this helped you guys. And until next time, happy gaming.